Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Kraft.
Thank you, Martin, and thank you, Stan. I'm incredibly humbled and blessed to be here this evening to receive this Genesis Prize. And thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, not only for your kind words, but for your decades of leadership dating back to your days at MIT, but especially what you do for this state of Israel and the unique leadership you bring here. You know, there are 14 million Jewish people globally, and for the 8 million of us who live in the diaspora, we owe a debt of gratitude to our mishpacha here, who built this country with their blood, sweat, and ingenuity. And a special thank you to the founders of the Genesis Prize, Michael Friedman, German Hahn, Peter Avin, and my special friend, Stan Polovitz. You have created an incredible award that unites the Jewish people all over the world and instills young Jews with a sense of pride in their heritage. To my dear family, my sons, Jonathan and Dan, and my beautiful granddaughter, Jessie, thank you for being here and giving me the love and support. After my family, there's nothing I'm more passionate about than the state of Israel and my Jewish identity. This can be traced to my childhood. I was born to two wonderful parents, Harry and Sarah Kraft. And while we were not rich materially, I couldn't imagine growing up in a wealthier, more loving household. My parents created a traditional Jewish home. We observed the Sabbath, kept kosher, and I put on tefillin every morning. We went to services on Shabbat and holidays and studied Chumash and Pirkei Avot after services. Being Jewish was a core part of my identity from a very young age, and I was always very proud of it. I was 6 years old in 1948 when the State of Israel was created, and it dominated the discussion everywhere I went. Though I was not old enough to understand World War II or the impact it had on the Holocaust, I knew that Israel brought joy to the people that I cared about most. This created a very personal connection for me personally to Eretz Yisrael. My love for Israel only grew when I honeymooned here in 1963 with my beloved wife Myra, Oleh Shalom. We stayed in the King David Hotel near the Kotel. It was so close, yet it was so far away. At that time, the city's walls were guarded with armed Jordanian soldiers, and Jewish visitors were not allowed to attend. To this day, I still remember the anger I felt at not being able to visit our holiest site. We all know that when the State of Israel was established in 1948, it had no infrastructure, no natural resources, and greater security risks than any country in the world. Just 15 years later, thanks to the hard work, passion, and pride of its people, I experienced the miracle of Israel that had already become in 1963. After our honeymoon in Israel, I returned home with two personal aspirations. First, to introduce as many people as possible to Israel, Jews and non-Jews alike. I wanted them to fall in love with the country the same way Mara and I had. And second, I wanted to be part of helping Israel strengthen its independence and security by contributing to its economy, investing capital, and hopefully driving innovation. I'm truly grateful that I've had the good fortune to see both of these dreams become reality over the last few decades. In the 80s, Myra and I began the Passport to Israel program, giving young Jewish children from our community an opportunity to experience this incredible country. In the last few years, we've even seen second-generation participants, which gave me considerable nachas. Some of the most rewarding experiences that I've had over the last few years are the 27 missions that I've been privileged to lead to Israel, bringing people from all walks of life and all backgrounds. This week, we have 15 current and former New England Patriot players, many of whom have earned multiple Super Bowls. I'd like to ask them to please stand with their significant others and be recognized. Thank you for all being here tonight and being here this week with me. I love seeing people's first reactions when they visit Israel for the first time. Historically, culturally, and spiritually, there is no other place like it. Providing others the opportunity to experience this country that I love so much has been one of the greatest joys of my life. From an economic interdependence standpoint, as soon as I was financially able to contribute to the growth of Israel, I did. We bought and put together two nearly bankrupt companies in the 80s and grew them into one of the largest packaging companies in the Middle East. I'll never forget our new plant opening in 1998. One of my heroes, Natan Sharansky, who's with us tonight, was our keynote speaker and ribbon-cutting honoree. It was a surreal moment. Over the next decade and a half, in partnership with Yaki Yerushalmi, who is here tonight with his lovely bride, Yael, we created almost 1,000 new jobs in Israel through our paper and packaging business, Mr. Prime Minister. You know, I've personally made over 100 trips to our homeland since I first visited here in 1963, and have seen Israel grow into a thriving democracy for all its citizens, regardless of religion, ethnicity, country of birth, gender, or sexual orientation, which is quite unique in this area of the world, and I don't think is always appreciated globally. It boasts an innovation economy that is a world leader in the life sciences and technology. And as every Israeli knows, including my friend the Prime Minister, it's a bastion of free speech. Some good, maybe some not quite so good. But there's so much to be proud of when one considers what Israel has truly achieved in its short history. Yet, I actually feel that with the BDS movement and other efforts to delegitimize and undermine the state of Israel, these are the most disconcerting times for the country I love so much. Mainstream news outlets in the US now consider it acceptable to publish anti-Semitic tropes, and members of US Congress have made similar comments and used racist stereotypes. Social media is now a forum for hateful and violent rhetoric, a large percentage of which is directed at our people and the state of Israel. What is most disturbing and heartbreaking is that Jews in Europe and the US have died for no other reason than their Jewish heritage. When I was awarded the Genesis Prize in January, I promised to dedicate myself even more than before to fighting anti-Semitism, BDS, and other efforts to delegitimize the State of Israel. My goal is to hopefully use the platform afforded to me by this prestigious prize to speak out, to try to lead, and to try to unite. It is in this spirit that I'm announcing this evening that I am launching the Foundation for Social Media Messaging Against Anti-Semitism. The mission of this foundation is to focus, develop, and disseminate powerful, creative messaging campaigns at a global level to educate individuals, create understanding, spur personal action, and counter misinformation against the rise of anti-Semitism. The campaign will target younger demographics, 18 to 35, who in my opinion are most impacted by what they see on social media, and they are not presently equipped with the materials to respond. I am personally committing $20 million to launch the foundation. Thank you. And at this point, I am seeking partners who will join me at the $5 million mark, although any amount will be appreciated. And I'm happy to say that Roman Abramovich and another donor who prefers to remain anonymous have pledged their support at the $5 million level already. And a number of others have expressed interest. My Chalom Gadol is to raise in excess of $50 million for this foundation. I believe we can use this platform of social media to make a genuine and lasting impact on the rising tide of hate, especially against our people. Together, we will fight anti-Semitism and support Israel by standing strong, engaging actively in Jewish life, and teaching our children that we will not live in fear. We will challenge against those who are against Israel. Just as the United Nations did in 1948, when they rightfully and justly returned the land to our people after 2,000 years. The birth of Israel gave me and all Jewish people great pride and joy. But what gives me even greater joy and hope is dreaming about and defending the future of this great nation. Am Yisroel Chai, Toda Rabbah.